Hi, everybody. I'm here to discuss something very controversial, and that's recovery. And recovery doesn't necessarily have to be through a 12-step cult. You know, the person that really exposed through science and medicine was actually a Quaker. Her name was Charlotte Castle. That argued that, and I'm not knocking 12-step programs if they work, God forbid, if you're dying, and if you're drinking too much or drugging too much and your life is falling apart and you're losing your family and you're losing everything and it works for you, good. Use it. If it stops working for you, there's other options. But the one thing that I've noticed working in harm reduction is the fact that I've noticed people who have, let's say, they're in a program that has cakes and stuff, which isn't part of the program. And they have 5 years. And they identify with that number and that power that they're given. They have 10 years. And they have a slip. And they go, oh no, everything is lost. Whether it's a drinky poo or a poo, or for some people, poo or a ain't poo, that's a little more dangerous, or a poo. Now, here's the thing I've noticed. People who are working harm reduction programs, or people who are depending on themselves, and perhaps a higher spiritual power, per se, in general, those people will have a slip. You know, might be a couple lines of snow, might be a few Jack Daniels, and the next day, they don't go into treatment, they don't lose their whole family, they don't have to start all over again, they just pick themselves up, go back to work, make their money, not F up their lives, and get back on track. Whereas I find with people who are very oriented about time, when they slip, it is all hell goes loose. And I think a lot of that has to do with programs that celebrate time and honor time. And the problem with that is that people feel like they've lost everything and they feel like they should go all out. And I've seen it time and time again. And I personally, for me, myself, again, have experienced situations where I've seen people who, you know, they have one drink and then the next day they feel so guilty and then they're just like rage alcoholics or doing the drugs and it's completely destroyed their lives again. And then people who are in VAMP or people who are in some type of CBT or DBT type of program or something like that, in general, if they slip after a while, in general, not all the time, but most of the time, most of them might be a week at most, and they get their lives back in order. And I think this notion that you're not spiritually fit enough and all that type of stuff is bullshit. The original 12-step program was 1 day at a time. Of the first 100 men and women in the program, 88 relapsed. People don't realize this. Success in that original 12-step program was not dying, right? So 88 of the original 100 men and women, 12 stayed abstinent. These are things to think about. I'm concerned about people. I don't want people to destroy their lives, and then I don't want people to get better. Oh, I hate that term, get better, but not be enslaved by their vices of choice, and I even hate to use that word, and then after working so hard completely obliterate themselves when they don't need to. This is just a personal opinion from personal experience. So, you know, sometimes I have a Lush addiction where I absolutely have to have the new bath bomb. Yes, that's better than having a drink or, you know, or anything like that. But I'm just going to make a point, and I don't, people may know who I might be talking about, with a certain individual that has like 10 Red Bulls and has been clean and sober for like 40 years. And once they have those 5 Red Bulls, they're in trouble. They're in trouble. It's like a blackout almost. Makes you think. Keep yourself safe. If you're destroying yourself, if you're ending up in psych wards. Oh, I've known people who have 20 years who are constantly in the psych ward. I'm not making any judgments on mental health. I think that's one of the main problems that needs to be addressed in certain 12-step programs, and understanding that. And the people who are on medications and them need to open up about it and not tell their sponsees to be off meds when they're on meds. So, there's my little diatribe on recovery. Keep your family, keep your children, keep your wives or your husbands, your boyfriends or your girlfriends. Don't let it destroy you. But don't see a slip, not a relapse. I think relapse is a dirty word. A slip destroy you. And of course, if you can't have acetone in your system, you do really want to avoid having a drink, because you can't break it down. I do agree with that principle. Science has shown that. But that's a very small subset of the population. You'd be very surprised how many people are involved in certain 12-step programs that aren't even problem drinkers. Stay healthy, stay alive.